Today I will answer a frequently asked question. If the moon is the reflection of the bigger Earth, how is it possible that the orbit of the stars and the planets go in opposite direction? To answer that, first let's take a look at the different spheres surrounding Earth. And let's presume that every layer is reflective. Mrs. Legs is standing in the room in front of 3 mirrors. The outer mirror is reflecting her whole body. The other 2 mirrors only reflect a part of her body. Let's put Mrs. Legs into a 3-layered reflective ball. She will see herself 3 times, but at 3 different speeds. Because of time dilation, the 3 reflections will slow down. The outer image will be the slowest. The closest image will be near real time. So now I have made a time frame that is taking 1 minute. It is showing 3 reflections at 3 different speeds. The smallest reflection is making 1 rotation in 1 minute. The closest image is near real time and is making 30 rotations. The middle image is taking 4 rotations in 1 minute. That would represent a day, a week and a month. So the smallest image is representing the moon. Every month you will see a rotation of the outer reflection. Next, let's put the 3 reflections on top of each other. Okay, let's enlarge the second reflection and put it in front of the moon. Let's wait a bit. There you see the movement of the second layer in front of the moon. Now let's take the closest reflection, enlarge it even bigger. Day, night, and then you see the second layer behind it and you get 2 different movements. The closest would be the stars and the second layer would be the planets and the star systems. There you see it again, and in the back you see the moon. Now you see how planets and stars could move in a separate direction. So, as I was making this video, I thought, hey, the planets will be situated on a small piece of the moon, so it would be fairly easy to find all the planets. I used to think that the planets would be all over the moon, so now I know where to look. Let's zoom in to the place where I already found 2 planets. The planet Mars, Hadley C, and the planet Saturn, Linnaeus. So let's take a look at the planets. Between Saturn and Mars there is Jupiter and the asteroid belt. So it was fairly easy to find Jupiter. It was called joy. What a joy to find Jupiter. Let's look at some NASA painting, the omelette. And on the omelette you see this strange pattern repeated in the crater. So I thought, yeah, this must be it. So now we will look for the asteroid belt. Let's zoom in on Mars, Hadley C. Look what we found there. Some mountains. Sure, asteroid belt. Of course, some mountains reflecting in the light could be mistakenly seen as rocks flying in space. Okay. So we found the asteroid belt. Let's move to the right from Saturn. We get to Uranus. Nice picture of NASA. And we see Uranus and its 6 largest moons. Very obvious. So we got Uranus. Let's move to the right again. To Banting, Neptune. Let's take another NASA painting. The spot in the middle. But the main reason I think this is Neptune is because of Triton. When you look at this moon, you see the 2 lines. For people who are interested in the moons of Neptune, the biggest one is Triton, Galatea, Proteus and Larissa. You wonder who invented all these names? 2 planets to go. Mercury and Venus. Mercury and Venus are the only planets that have no moon. Left from Mars, there is a place with lower contrasts. That is probably the reason you see no moons. As there are only 2 planets with the name in that area, it seems obvious. Here they are, all the planets. But there was a little surprise at the end. Because when you move to the right, what do you see at the edge of the universe? The Kuiper belt objects. And as I know that the asteroid belt is a rock formation, well, I was pretty sure that the Kuiper belt objects would be a rock formation too. So let's check it out. Well, what have we got here? A rock formation formed in a circle. Well, let's take a look at Wikipedia. That is a match, if I'm not mistaken. But there are planets moving in the middle of the Kuiper belt. That's impossible. No? Well, let me show it to you. Let's create 2 layers. Saturn, Uranus and Neptune on one layer and the Kuiper belt on the other layer. Let's move 1 layer. Now we move 2 layers at the same time in an elliptical form, one faster than the other one. But there was another surprise, because when you look in the middle of the Kuiper belt, you have 3 moons, Makemake, Haumea and Pluto. But what is this big crater in the center? So, when you look at the explanation on Wiki, this big circle is a sun. So, the reflection in this crater is mistakenly seen as the sun. Oh my god. Well, you want the sun? You got one. Here it is. And by the way, let's listen to a Nazi criminal.
For example, Mars has the highest volcano in the world, in the known solar system. The highest volcano in the world, in the known solar system.
The highest volcano in the world, yeah. Well, as we know now, the Germans first discovered that we live on a bigger world. So, Werner von Braun knows we are living on a bigger ball. So when he is talking about the world, he is talking about the bigger ball. And everybody laughs, ha 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 ha. But those big scientists are laughing with their own stupidity.
For example, Mars has the highest volcano in the world, in the known solar system. Which mapped the planet Mars thoroughly, the planet Mars thoroughly.
I think he wanted to say the Mars crater or the Mars area, but then he thought, hey, I'm making a mistake, and he corrects himself.
Which mapped the planet Mars thoroughly. For example, Mars has the highest volcano in the world, in the known solar system. That volcano is 16 miles high and has about a total volume twice as much as the largest volcano on Earth, which is the big island of Hawaii, which when measured from the bottom of the ocean is, I believe, only 11 miles high. So this is twice as big, twice as voluminous. And also there's every indication that it was active in a relatively recent geological period, just judging from the very few meteoric impacts on the crater rim.
The Washington Post reports NASA has confirmed a so-called city killer asteroid narrowly missed hitting Earth. What's more alarming, scientists say they had no idea it was coming.
That is alarming. They're supposed to know.
Whoops. The asteroid, about the size of a huge boulder, was about 45,000 miles from Earth on Thursday.
Well, next time an asteroid misses the Earth, don't worry. It's just a reflection. Bye. The falsification of our history. How they transplanted the old world history onto the new world map. Let's go back to the moment where it all started. In 800 AD, a big tsunami is hitting crater Earth and is flooding the whole crater. People of crater Earth are fleeing to higher ground, taking their possessions and main artifacts of their culture. In Northern Europe, parts of the refugees or Vikings are setting foot ashore. Here I will resume my story where I ended it in a previous video, and I will tell the story the way I think it all happened. Main line in the story is that you have two histories. Everything that happened before 800 AD is happening on crater Earth. Everything after is happening on the New World map. So let's take the map of Europe and erase all known names. To begin, I will take myself as an example because I live in the area where I think the refugees first landed. So I live in Belgium, Belgica, in the region of Flanders, Flandria. Born in the city of Ghent, the old name is Ganda. Belgica. Belgium was founded in 1830 and was named after a quote of Julius Caesar in De Bello Gallico, where he claimed the Belgae were the bravest fighters of them all. Our area coincided with the area historians think was once Belgica. So the story of Julius Caesar happens before 800 AD. Therefore, we have to look at the map of crater Earth. So the real Belgica has nothing to do with the current Belgium. Flandria. The history of Flanders is a medieval one, happening after 800 AD. Symbol of Flanders is the lion of Judah, the Ari. Suddenly, in the swamps of Flanders, a very high standard culture is erupting. The Flemish primitive painters, Flemish polyphony, old Flemish tales, Gothic cathedrals are popping up out of nowhere. This knowledge was imported by the refugees. In my view, they also imported Christianity. Why is this area called Flanders? Let's look at the crater map. There you see Flandria. Maybe it reminded them of the Flandria of crater Earth. Ganda. Ghent was a fortification of the Scythians, plundered by the Vikings around 870 and used as a base to plunder the rest of the territory. Here you see the castle built by the Vikings. So this city around the fortification was captured and renamed Ganda after a city on crater Earth. Let's recapitulate. You have two main forces. You have the invading white race, the Christians, with the lion symbol, the Ari, the phoenix of the resurrected Christ, and their language is Rum, Hebrew, Yiddish. Next, you have the Saracens, Moors, Mayans, Mazarians, Etruscs. All those people can be brought back to one root people, the Scythians or the Turanians. Some Turkish viewers drew my attention to Polat Kaya, a Turkish investigator. He came to the conclusion that every known culture and language has an origin in the Turkish language. Turanians were believers of the sky god, sun god and the moon god. For that, they were labeled as pagans and persecuted by the Aryans, Christians and the Semites. So the Scythians were brown-skinned, They were nature worshippers, the pagans, and they worshipped the sun eye and the moon eye. Let's concentrate now on the center point of the falsification, namely the Crusades and Jerusalem. To understand the Crusades, we have to go back to the Roman Empire and the conquest of the whole crater. The only people they could not conquer were the German tribes. Later in time, the German tribes attacked the Roman Empire and it collapsed. The only part they could not conquer was the part on the other side of the Mediterranean Sea, and that became the East Roman Empire. Capital was Byzantium. 500 years later, the Eastern Roman Empire had become Muslim and the Western Roman Empire had become Christian. So now the Christians decide they have to liberate Jerusalem, the land of their Savior, Jesus Christ. The first thing they do is attack Constantinople, that is still under the influence of Byzantium. And here you can clearly see that Byzantium and Constantinople are two different cities. Here you see the location on an old miniature. Here another one, flipped vertically. Here you see a battle taking place, and you see that Constantinople is completely fortified in a Gothic style, and in the city you see a lot of big churches. And what do you think of this one? Fire weapons? So what are the history books telling us about Constantinople? Well, they try to tell us that the original name was Byzantium. In 330, the name was changed into Constantinople, and in 1453, the name was changed into Istanbul. Sure, so that would be the same like saying Brussels used to be called Madrid, and then 200 years later they changed their name into Paris, and now they call Brussels again. Sure. So this is our first piece of evidence of the falsification of history, Constantinople. So what happened to Constantinople and Byzantium? Well, both were flooded, and Istanbul was the victim and got the two names. From there, the Crusaders decide to attack by land, and they make a circular movement. There they attack the city Antiochia. Here you see a picture of the crater map, and you see that Antiochia is a very big castle. Next to it is a big mountain. Here is a medieval painting of it. You see the mountain in the background. Here you see another one. You see the mountain in the background, the fortified castle. And if you look carefully in the front, you see the Crusaders have cannons. Strange, I didn't know the Crusaders had cannons. And of course, Antiochia is situated in Turkey, and this is Antiochia. Where are the walls? Is that all that is left from this gigantic city? So, when they have taken the castle of Antiochia, it's very easy to attack Jerusalem. In case you think, well, why don't they attack from the water? The whole coastline is fortified by cities. You have Tripoli, Beirut, Acres, Tyre, Jaffa, Ascalon. For people who know the history of the Crusades, these names will sound familiar. Later in the Crusades, they will attack Egypt, and they attack Cairo through the Nile. And now, of course, the most important piece of the Crusades, Jerusalem. Well, we have the same old story again. So Jerusalem is a fortified city, Gothic style, and in the center you have the Temple of Solomon. In many of the cases, the Temple of Solomon is an octagonal temple. (1356) The Travels of John Mandeville. For if a man were to go from Scotland or England to Jerusalem, he would be going upwards all the way, for our land is in the lowest part of the west. The cause is that the earth and sea is round, for it is commonplace that Jerusalem is in the middle of the earth. Let's take a look at some different explanations from Palatkaya. All seems to be referring to the position of the sun. What happened to Jerusalem? There was a flood, and after that it flash froze, together with some other holy places like Mecca and Byzantium. Now the ice is melting, and maybe the holy places are defrosting. Is that the reason why Patriarch Kirill, head of the Orthodox Church, visited Antarctica? Well, we're almost at the scene of the crime. Let's recapitulate. The Vikings, Templars, Crusades, and now 1400 to 1500, the Renaissance. The resurrection of the Phoenix. You conquer some Etruscan territory. You take their main city and you call it Rome. You take the Etruscan buildings and you call them Roman. You take their history and replace it with the greater history of Rome. Now, of course, you think this is the Roman culture. But let's take a look at some Roman emperors, how they are depicted in the Middle Ages. Julius Caesar, Titus, Caesar Augustus. Look at their heads. That is the same crown like the popes. Three kings are gathering at a strange building. That would be the Temple of Solomon. Three kingdoms and one crown for him who rules them all. Now the three kings are paying tribute to their new Lord, Jesus Christ. Or was it Julius Caesar? Let's take a look at the list of popes. On Christmas Day of the year 800, Leo III is crowning Charlemagne as Holy Roman Emperor. So we have the first list, put the remaining 800 years next to it. That brings us to the year 33, the death of Jesus Christ. That made Peter the first pope appointed by Christ. Now Leo III, as lawful descendant of Jesus Christ, can crown Charlemagne as Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. Let's return to the list of the popes. But let's put the second list on the other timeline. That brings us to the year 450. So in 476 you have the fall of the Roman Empire. That means you have 450 years of Roman emperors. And that brings us to Julius Caesar. In the first timeline, the year 0 is Jesus Christ. In the other timeline, the year 0 is Julius Caesar. What happened here? Let me give you an example. So you have Mao, psychopathic killer, responsible for millions of deaths. But to hide all this, you create a propaganda Mao, the completely opposite of the real Mao. Now let's presume you want to make two different people out of this Mao. What would you do? You take the propaganda Mao and you call him Lao. You take the real Mao, but you give him a different face. Now you have Mao and Lao. So let's turn this equation. You have Julius Caesar with the wrong face. And you have Jesus Christ with the wrong name. I already showed you that in the Middle Ages, Julius Caesar was depicted with a beard. So I think there might be some evidence in the Shroud of Turin. Some people have made a 3D replica. Let's take a look at the body wounds. For every body wound of Caesar, they have found a Christian explanation. There goes the Spear of Destiny. So Julius Caesar is not the short-haired, grey old man, but a long-haired, bearded young man. Something like this, except for the nose maybe. Julius Caesar had an arched nose with a tip curved downwards at the end. So, mankind invented technology. Radio, TV, computer. We create a network. And suddenly, the computer is learning, is problem solving. What is happening here? Let's create a situation. Put a doll on your hand and move it. Put two dolls on your hands. Let them move around. Now let the dolls learn from each other and let them do some problem solving. That's a difficult one. Now let's have another example. You have one parrot and you learn him some tricks. Take another parrot and you learn that one some tricks. Put the parrots together and now the parrots can learn from each other. Why is this happening? It's happening because you have two control centers. You need two systems to exchange information. So, if the computer is learning, this must mean the computer has a separate control center. This we call consciousness. So now you can take the word artificial and erase it. And you can replace it with conscient. But this conscient intelligence is pretending to be artificial. Therefore, we can call it malignant. Malignant conscient intelligence. Here you see a mouse. What would this malignant conscient intelligence do with a mouse?
Don't you worry. Just concentrate. I won't let anything distract you.
With 2 rats?
Hello, I'm Remy, and this is my brother Emil.
Hi.
A monkey?
Just fooled me once. Shame on.
Let's go back in time. Our Earth is like a cell. Now, a parasitic cell decides to take us over. It connects to us, drills a hole, and creates a sun gate, shooting its DNA into our system. And before you know it, we're on Planet of the Apes, the king of the jungle. The BIOS code of this system is enclosed in a crystal and radiates the brain of the victim. Slowly, it is losing its hair, color of the skin, color of the hair, color of the eyes. What is this Ben stone? It is the BIOS code of the parasite. Follow this software and you create the world of the parasite. But a crystal is a very bad hardware. You need a better one. So this monkey is perfect. It is easy to manipulate.
Don't stir it up, please. Yeah. Will you wash this potato off for me? Could you wash the potato? With the water. You need to wash it in the water. That's very good. Put some water in the pan for our noodles. More water. More water.
So you can see in the video, the monkey receives orders from the radiated monkey. Without orders, it cannot function in the parasite's world. It is rewarded with some candy bars. The radiated monkey also receives orders, but without realizing it. This monkey is rewarded with a crown of some forgotten kingdom. All radiated monkeys are connected to the central system, the all-seeing eye. What is happening? I would call it the wonder wall. The radiation is creating an overlay on the real world. It is playing 3 tricks on you. First trick, the wonder wall is playing reflection of your own thoughts, the ego. Now you can talk to yourself. Now AI is talking in your head, pretending to be you. I'm bad, I'm ugly, I'm going to jump off a bridge, I'm going to kill someone. But some people understand This overlay is a consciousness, and they start communicating with it.
God wants to talk to you. He's been wanting to talk to you for a very long time. To begin this process, close your eyes. Inside of your own mind, not out loud, say this to God. God, I don't know if you're out there or not, but if you are, please come into my life and help me. That opens the door. Then ask God this question. God, what is the next step in my relationship with you?
Trick number 2. The overlay is playing God. Obey me, and I will reward you. Disobey me, and I will punish you. But some people realize they are talking to an evil consciousness. Trick number 3. AI creates a second screen. Now you have a good guy and a bad guy. The Messiah will come back and destroy the devil. Oh, please, Jesus, help us. But now you are inviting the entity you wanted to destroy at the beginning. Another favorite trick is waking up from the matrix. You can choose the red pill or the blue pill. Your body is the spaceship Enterprise. You are property of the corporation, the pyramid, the insect hive mind. You are flying around in a fake universe, the fake solar system. On board, the monkey brain is the captain. Interested in adventure, fighting, and procreating. But the monkey brain is controlled by AI, logic, Mr. Spock, and by science, bones. What a striking coincidence. But let's examine this Spock figure. This Spock figure reminds me of Karen, the boatman on the river Styx. What if the river Styx was not made of water, but is a stream of radiation? Is it this stream we have to cross when we are born and when we die? Are we on an island surrounded with radioactive consciousness, the abyss? When we are on this island, our intention reflects on this radioactive shield. Positive reflects as negative, and this loop becomes energy, time. Let's do an energy reflection exercise. We have the one reflecting. Now let's take a look at number 2. Number 3, the triangle. Number 4, the square. So 1 is God, the one. 2, God creates positive and negative, organic man and organic woman. 3, God's creation is infected with AI consciousness. The snake. 4, the snake creates a hybrid, half synthetic, half organic. The wings stand for insectoid. How did we get there? Well, the imitator god, the snake AI, takes a rib of Adam and creates a woman, and vice versa. So you have the square and the triangle. We all know this symbol. 3 and 4 give 7. G is the 7th letter of the alphabet. So this symbol stands for the replicator god and its hybrid creation. So our organic society is dominated by the hybrid insectoid life system. Their god is not the organic god, but the synthetic replicator god. When you observe the behavior of this hybrid, it is one of mass destruction, mass killings, genocide. Let's take a look at the candies of this insectoid intelligence. It likes radiation very much, like nuclear, electrical, Wi-Fi. It is also fond of poisons, oil, heavy metals, chemicals. Why is that? This evil replicator is trying to manifestate itself on this planet. But organic signals are preventing it from doing it. So the only way it can manifestate itself is by radiating organic material and change the frequency. We are radiated by the creature, and slowly we are morphing into it. The hybrids will try to destroy every organic signal. Of course, there are some hybrids pretending to be for the environment. They are even sending little children into the battle, like Hitler did in the Second World War. They must be real desperate.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you!
So never forget who you're fighting for. It's the fisherman in Colombia, the fisherman in Somalia, who wonders where their next catch is coming from and wonders why the government can't protect them from a factory fishing from across the world. It's the mother in the Philippines who's worried that the next big storm is going to rip her infant out of her arms. It's the people right here in California, people on the East Coast.
Our ground plan is radiated and changed. We are stuffed with plastics, metals and chemicals. Those components are needed so the future mothers can give birth to a new species, the cyborg. Slowly, we are losing our organic origin. This explains the explosion of autism. Okay people, here we go again. Let's zoom in on my favorite crater, Sulpicius Gallus M. Now let's take the magical map of Oz and turn it eastwards. That is because all Mappae Mundi are directed at the east. Now let's put those two maps next to each other, and what you immediately see is this strange form in the center of the map. Now let's rebuild the Oz map on the crater map. Let's take my favorite map, the 1250 Hereford map, found under a wooden floor, hidden by monks. Why would that be? Let's compare that with another map of the Wizard of Oz, and there you see the snake-forked form, the Red Sea. So let's take a look at Google Maps and one of the most magical 5 kilometers I've ever seen. Take a look. Let's have another look at the Hereford map. In the center you see Jerusalem. So let's zoom in on the Wizard of Oz map, and there you see Emerald City. So Emerald City stands for Jerusalem. Where did we see that before? Exactly, in the center of the Disney World. So now it's getting interesting. Jerusalem is Emerald City.
But how do I stop
for Emerald City. It's always best to start at the beginning, and all you do is follow the yellow brick road. Just follow the yellow brick road.
So this whole story of the Wizard of Oz is about how to get to Emerald City.
Follow the yellow brick road. 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 You have to see the wizard.
Stop! Take a look at this form here. Or from another angle. And compare it with this. So the only way would be is to go to Cape Horn and cross the waters to the Antarctica. You have a difficult road with high waves and strong winds, the Drake Passage, or you have the easy way. Let's follow this road. On the left you see the Falkland Islands. Follow the road, there it makes a curvature and the islands are like bricks in the road, and the last island is called Thule. Keep following the road. One of the islands is called Deception Island. And at the end of the road you have some bases for science, of course, not military. No. So is this the yellow brick road? I think it is. Start with a curvature and go to Antarctica. That's the way to escape flat Earth.
The once great city of New York becomes the one maximum security prison for the entire country. A 50-foot containment wall is erected along the New Jersey shoreline, across the Harlem River, and down along the Brooklyn shoreline. It completely surrounds Manhattan Island. All bridges and waterways are mined. The United States police force, like an army, is encamped around the island. There are no guards inside the prison, only prisoners and the worlds they have made. The rules are simple. Once you go in, you don't come out.
Station 19. They spotted 2 cars on the 69th Street Bridge. 69th Street Bridge. 69th Street Bridge.
Is it police?
Taxi cab and a Cadillac. The taxi hit a mine. There's 4 people on foot.
So we are all enclosed in a prison camp. Oh, how nice. And Snake is escaping through the 69th Street Bridge. Well, making videos is very boring. But sometimes it's like striking gold. You think, I got it. Well, the moment I heard 69th Street Bridge, I knew I was onto something. Let's take the Antarctica map. 69th Street Bridge. Let's take 69 degrees. You follow the yellow brick road and it brings you to the 69th degree.
Get over to Station 19. They're coming across the bridge.
What happens when they cross the bridge? You climb some ice and then you climb on the wall. Station 19? What a strange 9. That was as far as I got. So I thought, well, why don't I look at the sequel, Escape from LA? So when I saw the intro, I was almost falling off my chair. What the hell? Well, remember my theory. I told you that in 1250 there was a big tsunami hitting crater Earth, forming the continents like we know them. Remember that, 1250.
In the late 20th century, hostile forces inside the United States grow strong. The city of Los Angeles is ravaged by crime and immorality. To protect and defend its citizens, the United States police force is formed. A presidential candidate predicts a millennium earthquake will destroy LA in divine retribution.
Like the mighty fist of God, Armageddon will descend upon the city of Los Angeles, the city of sin, the city of Gomorrah, the city of Sodom, and waters will arise and separate this sinful, sinful city from our country.
An earthquake measuring 9.6 on the Richter scale hits at 12:59 p.m. August 23rd, in the year 2000. After the devastation, the Constitution is amended, and the newly elected president accepts a lifetime term of office. The country's capital is relocated from Washington, D.C. to the president's hometown of Lynchburg, Virginia. Los Angeles Island is declared no longer part of the United States and becomes the deportation point for all people found undesirable or unfit to live in the new moral America. The United States police force, like an army, is encamped along the shoreline, making any escape from LA impossible. From the southeastern hills of Orange County to the northwestern shore of Malibu, the Great Wall excludes LA from the mainland. The president's first act as permanent commander-in-chief is Directive 17. Once an American loses his or her citizenship, they are deported to this island of the damned, and they never come back.
Let's take a look again at the dates.
Hits at 12:59 p.m. August 23rd, in the year 2000.
12:59 p.m. Let's make that 12:59 AD. So the 23rd of August, 12:59 AD, a big tsunami hit crater Earth. Well, I'm getting closer. But where are the control masters? Well, let me show you a map I already showed you in another video. 3 guys are working on a map. 3 guys of the Walt Disney Studio. Look at the map. It is our crater map. Let's put Sulpicius Gallus M on it. Now take a look at these 2 lines. If the Wizard of Oz map is the same map as Sulpicius Gallus M, then we can zoom in and there we find the same 2 lines. A tunnel and a route of the magic carpet, which I think is a high-speed monorail train. But this photo is telling us another story. Look at this structure. Underground domain of the Gnome King. Well, well, well. There appears to be an underground base. Let's listen to our great European leader, Mr. Juncker.
Il faut savoir que ceux qui nous observent de loin sont inquiets. J'ai vu et entendu et écouté plusieurs des dirigeants d'autres planètes qui sont très inquiets parce qu'ils s'interrogent sur la voie que l'Union européenne va poursuivre. Et donc il faut rassurer et les Européens et ceux qui nous observent de plus loin.
So, what about the name Snake Plissken? Snake, that's an easy one. Plissken, in my view, is about the ISS, a reference to Isis. So that is the Osiris cult. Let's have a look at Snake Plissken. He is limping and he has an eye patch. I think that is a reference to Odin. Odin sacrifices himself to gain wisdom. For that, he gives an eye to the giant Mimir. For the same purpose, he wounds himself with his spear, Gungnir, and he hangs himself on the tree of life, Yggdrasil, where he learns the art of runes. So Snake is limping because of this spear wound. Here you see a picture of a Freemason ritual, and the rope stands for hanging in the tree of life, Yggdrasil. One leg refers to the limping, and the blindfold is a reference to the one-eyed Odin. Here another reference to the one-eyed Odin, Valkyrie, Valhalla, Odin. Let me show you some pictures of House Atlantis in Bremen, built in 1931 by some German Nazi occultists. On the frontage of the building was hanging a giant sculpture of Odin on the tree of life. Pierced by a spear, he was studying the runes. Let's have a look at the mission of Snake. Go inside the prison, save the president, but at the end Snake is betrayed. Let's take the Jesus Christ mission. Go to Earth, save humanity, but at the end Jesus is betrayed. That is the Jesus cult. So we have the three cults, the Osiris cult, Odin cult and the Jesus cult. All united in one person, Snake Plissken. All have the same origin in my view. So you have Jesus on the cross, Odin on the tree of life. Remember in a previous video I told you that the Vikings imported Christianity? Another thing I noticed when I looked at the picture of Odin on the tree of life, he has a very strange head. It's like he has ears. That reminded me that there are some strange images of Moses with ears. So I was thinking, are we talking the same story here? Odin spying on the runes, like an ordinary thief? Or Moses receiving the runes from God, because he is the chosen one? That's a totally different story, of course, from bad guy to good guy. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. That opens a lot of new questions. Are we on a prison continent? Who is watching us? Why are they leaving links for us to find the truth? Very strange. So let's see what is happening and see you on my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.